All right, Shalom. First and foremost, all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to the Akim across the globe, pushing the word in truth and in sincerity. Shalom. And in this lesson, I want to bring out basically that, hey, don't trust your enemy. And it starts with knowing who your enemy is, all right? Being able to identify who your enemy actually is, all right? And it's not your brother, all right? Your brother that's on the same road path as you, but your enemy, as in these Edomites, all right? These other nations, these people who keep you down, all right, keep you down as a nation. Esau being the so-called white people, man, and us being the Israelites, so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans. We are the same nation, and we're called the Israelites according to the Bible, the real Hebrew Israelites. All right, and these Edomites out here, so-called white people, and then the other nations, Chinese, which is the Moab. All right, these Indians, which I'm not talking about the Native American and indigenous Indians. I'm talking about the red dot in the forehead Indians. All right, which I believe is Elam. Uh, um, these Arabs. All right, all these other nations, man, that are not a part of the 12 tribes of Israel. They're your enemies, and your targeted main enemy is the so-called white people. All right, and the scriptures talk about that, man. All right, going back to the blessings, that when Jacob and Esau were fighting for the blessing of the father, all right, Esau was supposed to get that blessing, but Jacob got it. All right, and Esau got mad. All right, shit, I'd be mad too, but hey, that's really where it all started, man, where we started getting to fights. Esau wanted to kill Jacob after his father had died. So hey, that perpetual hatred has always been there, all right? And even back with Cain, all right, when he slew his brother, so it's just always been a perpetual hatred amongst the two, man. All right, that's why there's always that so-called racism, man. that will never go away, That's always there. But anyways, I'm gonna start here with the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach 12 and 10. It says, "Never trust thine enemy." So we know who our enemy is, all right? And we went off for trusting them in the first place when the scriptures told us to not trust in our enemies. Like back when what do they call it? Thanksgiving, all right? When so-called Columbus came over to America, discovered it. When he ain't discovered it, he killed the Native American people in order to get this land. All right, and where did we fuck up as a nation? All right, first off, we fucked up by serving and looking into their gods and so on and so forth, and that's why we're going through the curses now. All right, but that's one form of example of how we went off. All right, bringing out Gad. All right, because Gad, trusted in them. All right, because what, Esau came humble. All right, he crouched himself. He made it seem like he was his friend, our friend. All right, and what did Gad do? What did the Israelites do? They put their chains, their gold chains, and expensive resources and all that on them. Basically like their friends. But what did he do? He backstabbed them. All right, he gave them I believe it was what do you call that? They gave them blankets infected with the disease, all right, and basically stabbed them in the back. So hey, never trust your enemy, man. All right, just because they have smooth words, and it's no different today. All right, with these whole CV-19, with these max scenes, all right, that they want to give out to the people. All right, they talking smooth with the tongue. Hey, that man, I believe his name is Dr. Fauci. All right, he looks like a helpless, friendly old Edomite neighbor. But really, he's just the puppet of the elites. And they know that. They're using him as a face, as a puppet, so that people can look at it and be like, oh, and he talks smooth, and he talks like like he's for the people. But in reality, he's just putting that front, so that people can be like, so they can be persuaded into doing the things that he says. All right. And hey, that's just one form of how your enemy gets to you, man. And that's why it's important to know your enemy. All right. And the scriptures talk about that. It said his words are as smooth as butter. Matter of fact, let me get it. This is the book of Psalms 55 and 21. It says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. All right, in his mind. That word heart goes into your mind. All right. It says his words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. All right. So that front, going back to Salaki for using that phrase, but they're putting in that front, like if they're for you, like if they're for the people. But in reality, it's the complete opposite. And a lot of people don't like to feel that way. They don't like to feel like, oh, oh, the government's not against us, they're for us, because they don't want to feel that that betrayal in their spirit. They want to trust. They just want to trust and trust, and that's the problem with a lot of Israelites, man. With Israel, they just like to trust and trust, man. And the only one we're supposed to trust in is in Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. All right, at the end of the day, man. From here, I'm gonna get the book of Job 9 and 24. All right, because this is who your enemy is, man. The wicked. This is it says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? All right, so the one that's ruling this earth, man. Hey, it's this earth is coming to naught, man, because of Esau, because of our enemy. All right, because Israel has a righteous spirit in them, man. All right, and Esau has a completely different spirit in them. All right, and the wicked is our enemy because what? Hey, can the lamb be with the wolf? So the godly with the sinner. All right, and basically going into Israel, man, we're the godly of the people, man. That's why you feel like something's wrong when you're committing a sin, man. Because what? That's not how you're supposed to be operating, man. And these Edomites, they don't have that spirit, man. They just do whatever the flesh wants them to do, And of course, we have the wicked of our Israel, and that's why the wicked of the Israelites are gonna get put to death, man. All right, because y'all want to operate just like these Edomites, just like these other nations. All right, even though it's not in your spirit to do so, y'all put y'all backs on the Most High, Yahweh wa Yahweh Shai. From here, I'm gonna get the book of Ezekiel 35 and 5. It says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. All right, so even until this day, man, these our enemies, they're still shedding the blood of Israel, man. They still get gunned down. All right, different various ways that our enemies come and shed the blood of Israel, man, especially in hardcore slavery, killing us unrighteously. All right, so these our enemies, they're gonna always have that hatred for us, man. It's natural in them, man. It's naturally in them. Because guess what? They sit around in meetings, in councils, and they talk, and they just seek how to destroy Israel, how to keep us in a mental state of, hey, we're not the Israelites, we're just, we're just vain people, we're just people that are poor and don't have hope. You know, that's the type of mindset that they put in us. And therefore, you know, because we're helpless and we don't have no help, that we need to go and seek and go down to Egypt for help. We got to go to our enemies for help, but that's part of the curses as well, you know. But this is the book of Psalms 83, and I'm going to start the first verse. It says, "Keep thou silence, O power. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies are," because these enemies of Israel are also the enemies of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right? If they're enemies with the prince, they're enemies with the power, right? And that's what Israel means, Yashar Allah. It means he prince power. All right, he prince of the power, man. We're princes of the power, man. All right, so if someone got a problem with us, they got a problem with Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, man. And if someone has a problem, and if Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai has a problem with someone else, we have a problem with them, man. All right, because Israel and Yahweh, we're together, man. The scriptures talk about we're a wife unto Yahweh, which is a husband, man. All right. Reading on, verse 2, it says, "For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, which is Israel, and consulted against thine hidden ones, Israel. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. All right, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee." All right, so that what they do, especially starting with these elites, they sit around in the table when they communicate on how to destroy Israel, man, and how to bring us down, how to make us forget that we're Israel. All right, that's what these other nations do, man. They do that to destroy us, man. They do that to bring us down. But it's not gonna last forever, man. We're coming back to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, all right, and in our, you know, and now we're gonna be the ones that's up next, man. We're gonna be the ones that's gonna be ruling over these nations, and these nations is not gonna be ruling over us. They're gonna be having to come to us for water, food, clothes, so on and so forth. Joy, all right, because when the earth is running righteousness, bro, even these other nations are gonna be happy. Even they're gonna be in joy, all right, because righteousness is always it's the way of life, the way of health, the way of joy, all right. And when you're wicked, you might feel that joy and pleasure, but for a moment, man. But then it all escapes. So hey, you know, hey, we're coming to an end. You know, this is it for Esau. You know, so hey, just stay prayed up. You know, stay fasting. You know, when you can. And but hey, with that, you know, hey, don't trust your enemy. Never trust your enemy, as the scriptures say. Never ever. All right, so don't take that vaccine. Don't take no test to see if you have a boogeyman, sickness disease, as we know as CV-19. All right. Don't take, and ultimately, don't take the microchip, which is the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast. All right, RFID stands for radio frequency identification. Don't take that. All right, it's gonna come mandatory. All right, they're doing this thing slowly but surely. It's called gradualism, and it goes back to how Esau is smooth with his words, man. You know, and he's also wiser than Daniel, so he knows how to make a multitude, the whole world we're talking about. All right, take slowly but gradually change their minds to taking RFID chip. Just like what? Hey, back then, no one, 10, 20 years ago, hey, that was a disgrace to even hear that someone's gay, that someone's bi, that someone's lesbian. All right, but nowadays it's as normal as can be. All right, and if you talk bad against it, everyone looks at you like you crazy. But in reality, they are the crazy ones, man. To think that a man and man can, you know what I'm saying, sleep together, or, you know, those vile affections, man. You know, but that's just how Esau does. He deals gradualism. All right. Hey, but with that, I hope the lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to the Akim across the globe, pushing the word in truth and in sincerity. Until next time, Lord willing, Yahweh Ratazah Shalom.